Welcome back to school, Yellow 6 students. This is quarter 2, and in language arts, we're going to start with our portfolio number 1 in our springboard book. So this is the book that you were given over the summer, so you're going to need this book. And we're going to work on Unit 1, and it's called Personal Narrative Writing. And so I'm going to show you the resource slides, or some of the resource slides today. And I'm going to go to number 2, slide number 2. So in our Springboard Unit 1, the unit is called Stories of Change, and there's an embedded assessment. Now the embedded assessment is like your summative, but in Springboard they just call it an embedded assessment. So you're going to have to write a personal narrative, and for your personal narrative you're going to write a narrative that includes 1, a well-told incident, 2, a response to the incident, and 3, a reflection about the significance of the incident. And I'll show you an example of this in just a bit. So here are some skills and knowledge that you're going to gain from doing this unit with us. You're going to write a multi-paragraph personal narrative that addresses the prompt. You're going to develop events and character through dialogue, pacing, and descriptive details. You're going to sequence events using this pattern, incident, response, and reflection, and you're going to sequence the events logically. Use a variety of transitions, use precise words and sensory details, and demonstrate the command of dialogue punctuation. And last, work through all stages of the writing process. This is the scoring guide on how your personal narrative will be scored. So we're going to be looking at some of these key areas. The first area will be ideas. So the narrative presents a clearly focused and significant incident. It develops experiences, events, and our characters through thorough and effective use of dialogue, pacing, and descriptive details. We're also going to take a look at the structure of your narrative. So the narrative engages and orients the reader in an introduction, sequences events in the incident, and responds logically and naturally, uses a variety of transitional strategies effectively, and provides an insightful conclusion. And of course, we always need to look at use of language. So the narrative uses precise words and sensory language effectively to convey the experience, demonstrates the command of the conventions of standard English, capitalization, punctuation, spelling, grammar, and usage, including pronoun use, sentence variety, dialogue tags, and punctuation. So here are the elements of a personal narrative. And what I would like you to do is in your composition book, language arts composition book, I want you to go to find the next blank page that you have, and I want you to copy down this slide here and title your composition book page Elements of a Personal Narrative. So I copied this slide down. It says number 1, setting, the time and place where the story takes place. So these are the 4 elements of a personal narrative. So 1, the time and place where the story takes place. Number 2, incident, the central piece of action that is the focus of the narrative, what happened. 3, response, the immediate emotional and physical actions associated with the incident. And 4, reflection, a description that explores the significance of the incident, what was learned, and how did you change or grow. So I want you to copy this slide down into your composition book, just like this. So if you have to stop and pause this video, please do so. Okay, now these are the 4 elements of a personal narrative. So in a narrative, you would include the setting, you would include the incident, what happened in the story, in your narrative. 3, a response to that incident. So what was your immediate emotional and physical actions associated with the incident? And last, 4, a reflection. Now, oftentimes when students think about writing a personal narrative, they think about writing a rather lengthy piece where it takes them from point A to point B. And we're not, in a personal narrative, we're not looking to hear or find out about, say, for example, a trip that you took to Disneyland or a 1-week camping trip that you had. A personal narrative is kind of like a snapshot. Like if you took a picture of an incident, it would be just to describe that brief, specific incident or that brief moment in time. So let me share with you an example of a personal narrative written by a student a few years ago. And as I read this, try to pick out the setting, the incident. What is she actually writing about? What is this significant thing that happened in her life? 3, what was her response? What was her immediate actions and emotions, her physical action, her emotional action? What did she say? How did she feel? And the last element, 4, her reflection. How did she change from this incident? How did her life change, or how did she grow or learn from this incident? Okay, so it's called a Thanksgiving surprise. Thanksgiving 2012. A lot of people would think this was a happy holiday, but for a certain dog and for me, it was more than just turkey and stuffing. An owner of 2 dogs had decided that the puppy she had recently gotten was just too much. He would race around the house at top speed, annoy the older dog when it was sleeping, and spill food and water all over the floor. After a month of this, she finally gave up and put the puppy back up for adoption. I was sitting in my room listening to music and reading a book before my grandparents would show up to help us cook. We were going to start making the turkey in about half an hour, so it would be ready for dinner. "Lauren," my mom called, "come downstairs. Grandma and Grandpa are here." "I'm coming down right now," I replied, putting down my book. I walked down the stairs and saw my grandparents in the living room chatting with my mom and dad. "Hi, Grandpa. Hi, Grandma," I said. "Guess what?" my mom said. "There's a lady in Maryland who has a friendly puppy, but she and her older dog can't handle all his energy. Go get your brother and tell him to get down here so we can leave." I ran up the stairs, heart pounding. This was what I had been waiting for over the last 3 months. The first puppy we had met was fine to its owner, but snapped at everyone else. The next one was just all around mean. I was hoping with all my heart that this one was perfect. "Aiden, go downstairs," I told him. He was playing with his Lego in the game room. He loves Legos. The table where the Legos were was a total mess. He had built a cartoon turkey in honor of the holiday. He looked at me with puppy dog eyes and held up his turkey. "Can I play 5 more minutes? Please," he begged. "Grandma and Grandpa are here," I responded. At hearing Grandpa and Grandma, he jumped up and dropped the turkey, and all traces of begging disappeared. He raced down the stairs as fast as a cheetah, eager to see his grandparents. "We're getting a new dog too," I called after him. I heard a "yay" from Aiden downstairs. We all piled into the car except Grandma and Grandpa because they were going to start the turkey. Aiden and I were bouncing up and down at the thought of getting a friendly new puppy. My mom and dad were smiling because we were all so happy. The rest of the drive was quiet except from the occasional "yay" and "are we there yet?" We pulled up to the house of our future dog. Everything was spotless. There were no abandoned chew toys in the front yard or dog fur on the rug like at the other dog owners' houses. We could see how an energetic little puppy could be a pain when you wanted a perfectly clean yard and house. We rang the doorbell and waited. When the lady opened the door, we introduced ourselves as the people who wanted to adopt the puppy. She went to go get the little dog. About 5 minutes later, a yellow torpedo shot out of the living room and into the hallway, spreading fur all over and scrunching up the carpet. "His name is Deacon," she said. I was in love. He was so sweet and soft, and when he jumped on you, he would give you 1,000,000 kisses. His fur was yellow, with white patches near his shoulders that looked like little angel wings. He tackled me and wagged his tail like there was no tomorrow. I knew immediately that he was the right one. I felt like I had just won every single lottery in the country. Him and I were going to be best friends forever. "Can we keep him, Mom?" I asked. "Please?" Ironically, I used puppy dog eyes to beg for a puppy dog. "Yes," said Mom. With that one word, I felt like this was going to be the happiest day ever. And it definitely was. That day I got my new dog was the best day of my life. So, Thanksgiving is something more than just food and family. It's creating lasting relationships and keeping them strong. Shortly after, we changed his name to Barkley. He came home with us and has lived with us for 4 years so far. He is a great dog and has made my life so much better. I love Barkley. So this is an example of a personal narrative, and yours will be similar to this. Of course, the incident will be different, but you'll also include a setting, and you'll include your incident, and of course your characters. You'll include a response and a reflection. Okay, so this slideshow here has all of the lessons that your teacher will go through in teaching you the different parts of a narrative, and will also include different things such as sensory language and similes and metaphors and connotation and denotation. All of these things together will help to form your personal narrative. Okay, now the other slideshow that I wanted to show you is your assignment slide. So your assignment slideshow, this is your narrative writing assignment. So if you remember last quarter and quarter one, we would have a resource slideshow, like your step up to writing resource slideshow, where your teacher would do all of the learning and explaining and teaching you how to do different parts of your step up to writing. And then you would have your assignment slideshow, where you would show us your practice and what you learned from each of those different parts of step up to writing. We're going to do the same thing for this unit, our springboard unit, unit 1, narrative writing, and these are your assignments. So the slideshow I showed you earlier was your resources, where we'll do teaching from, and this is where you'll do you're going to show us what you've learned. So it'll start off with some vocabulary words that you need to know, and then we'll take you through, the different lessons that'll help you to write your great narrative. Okay, so this is a great unit in writing, and I look forward to reading your narratives and finding out all the interesting things that have happened in your life so far, and how it has affected you or changed you or helped you learn something. And have a great first day back at school. Thank you.